talking to her, and somebody said, "You look young." and what we did was, my wife and I were sitting at the ofruf. You know, it's like the regular stuff that everybody Chassan says, you know. I told, so before our son-in-law got up, I told my wife, I said, Udi, I wonder what the sentence is going to be. So like everybody gets one sentence. You know, like in the Geffen, the Schwer, the Maiden, you know, I knew there would be one personalized sentence. I was just curious to hear what it was going to be. So I said, but a great historian said that, you know, when presidents are in power, they get billions of words written about them. 30 years later, all they get is a sentence. Right? Truman dropped the bomb, Roosevelt is the depression, you know. So what's your sentence going to be 30 years from now? That's the question. That's really what it's about. Start thinking now. What do you want your kids to remember? What's the sentence of your family going to be? And that's really, you get a chance to do it now while your kids are young. So our son-in-law did the whole, you know, the whole spiel. And he said, let me tell you something about that. Okay, here it comes. He says, I want to tell you, the first time I came over for supper, this is a true story. He said, the first time I came over for supper, he says, we were all sitting at the table, because everybody was there, and he said, the phone rang. So he said, 5 kids, 2 parents, everybody looked at the phone and went back to eat. And then the phone rang a few minutes later, and everybody looked at the phone and went back in. And he said, I was dying to get into the car to ask Leah, if they're picking up the phone, if you're looking at the phone, pick it up. If you're not looking, ignore it. What in the world is this all about? So he discovered on the way home that when I started Project Yes, you know, there was so much, I put in a 3rd line just for the family. So we have elderly parents. So line 3, we used to pick up during supper. And he was saying that how nice it was to him that nobody, and like we automatically, nobody would dream of picking up a phone during dinner. But this is something that you as parents get to set the culture. Try to be positive. If you're interested in doing some homework, there's a fellow named Gutman who did some great research on families. Nice Jewish boy. He did some research on families and what makes, he made quite a bit of, you know, lots of headlines in the 90s, I believe it was. He said that he could predict with 90% accuracy which couples are going to divorce. And he hooked them up to, you know, stuff, and he used to ask them questions. He had I'm sorry?
Gutman, not Gutman, yeah, no.
I said, what did I say? Gutman.
Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So what he discovered was, in his research of families, he discovered 2 things that spoke to me anyway. There are many others. Feel free to, he'll get you the right spelling. You can look it up. What he discovered is that one correlation between the strength of the families is the families that had positive comments to negative comments. He actually had researchers mark down when any parent said something, was it something positive or something negative? And he discovered that great homes had a 5-to-1 positive to negative ratio, and some homes had as much as 1 to 9. 1 positive comment for every 9 negative comments. And what happens is, as parents, we think that our job is to correct kids. That's what our mission statement is. So, like, you think of, I actually did, when I first read it, I was still an 8th grade Rabbi. So I went into my classroom, I took a clipboard, and I said, let me see how I'm doing. And it was pretty lousy, I gotta tell you. What happens? I think about it. Kids come back from recess, or they're coming in the morning. There's 24 boys. 20 of them are doing exactly what they're supposed to. They're sitting in class, they open their notebooks, they're ready to go. So who do I talk to? The 4 boys. Why aren't you here? Okay, it's just our nature. So just think about that. Another thing that he discovered was that healthy families repair damage. All families argue. You know, whatever. If you don't, you're a tzaddik, that's a Davis. You know, families go through difficult times. Good marriages don't come by themselves. You have to really, really work on it. But he discovered that the families that were solid spent time repairing. They argued, but after they argued, they realized that there is a time that you need to repair. You have to really put your mind to it. There was trauma in our marriage right now, and we're going to spend some time working on it. I encourage families, parents, spouses, to be affectionate to each other with some adoration. I mean, but you know, really to be affectionate to each other in front of your children, especially when you quarrel. You know, think of what it looks like to a kid. You know, you have the yeshivas that learn Parshas HaShavuos. You know, like they learned the beginning of the Parsha. Noach, he built the teva was up there, and then Friday comes. Next week they start from Lech Lecha. Where did Noach go? We never finished the Parsha. Like, where is he? So like, you have an argument 9 o'clock at night, the kids are up, and everybody's upset, and you're storming around, and you're getting all upset, and the next morning the kids say, hey, having a coffee, hi. Like what happened in between? The kids say, what? Hey, that's not bad. Let them see an apology, let them see that you're holding each other's hands, it's good, I was always held my wife's hand in front of the children at the Shabbos table or whatever it is. It's very important, it's good that the children should see that you love each other. Another idea, try not to go to sleep angry if you can do this. Really, if you're newlyweds, it's a good time to start. If not, try it. Really, that doesn't mean that you don't have disagreements, but what it means is that you set it aside. I really would encourage you, if you can do this as a family, to try to think about setting a rule that you don't go to sleep angry. Again, it doesn't mean that there's no issues. You may have substantive issues at 12 o'clock at night. It doesn't mean it's a mitzvah to stay up till 4 in the morning to settle it. But you say, time out, I love you, sweetheart, go to sleep, we'll talk in the morning, with one of your children especially. And it works. We don't think our kids are listening to us. But they really do, and I'm embarrassed. I still remember, we did this, my wife and I, we really made this up during Shabbat Brachos, that we're going to try not to go to sleep, that was 32 years ago, not to go to sleep angry, and we got this going with the kids. And I messed up once, and one of our children, I forgot. We got into a little quarrel, and stuff happened, and they went to sleep. And I lived to be 180. I'll never forget the look on his face in the morning. He says, "Tati, you said you would never ever do that." He was about 10, 11, and I messed up. I didn't do what I said I would do. He went to sleep upset. I was upset with him. The last thing I told him was not "I love you, good night." But so you're not going to be perfect, but to set these as goals, at least something to strive for. One more thing, I'll talk about Shabbos tables and then quick safety, and then we'll take some questions. Let me tell you what Shabbos tables are not. Shabbos tables are not a bechina. It's not a place to test your children on during the week. It's not a place for stress and stuff. It's just a time to enjoy each other's company. If you look throughout the Zmiras, look through all the songs you sing on Shabbos, they describe food and wine. It doesn't say parsha questions. Take a look. I checked. It doesn't say. Now I'm all in favor. I have yeshiva. I'm a manal of yeshiva. We also give out parsha questions. I didn't have the courage 17 years ago to do what I wanted to, which was to put a Surgeon General's warning out. Barking these questions at your kids in front of company will be harmful to their emotional health. But if your children enjoy discussing parsha at the table, that's fine. It's perfect. It's great. But if they don't, or they want to be left alone, you could do it on the couch. You could do it on Sunday. I checked. You could do it. There's somebody shining. There's a little talk about it, but most of them are makel. Shabbos table is supposed to be an enjoyable time. And you know what messes us up? Every neighborhood has 2 families that have perfect Shabbos tables. And we should banish them. That's what I say. That's my suggestion. You know what I'm talking about? You go to the home and they have 4 kids and say, "Oh, Abba's making Kiddush." "Okay, sure." "Let's go wash." "You go." No, you go first. You go first. And you sit there. You know what I'm talking about, right? You take these people and get them on a boat somewhere. Put them on a slow boat. Get them out of the neighborhood. And we'll all relax. We'll have our dysfunctional homes and everybody will bother us. But this is what happens. Don't get messed up. Don't go to these people. Don't invite. First of all, they're grinding Valium into their food. Trust me. I still remember. I'm a little on the active side. So I still remember I was taking our 2 boys. They're 2 years apart. So I remember taking them to shul. Like they would land for 30 seconds and start and right in front of me. I'm still not mindful of him. The guy there. He had 3 children. I promise you, he used to walk in with them. Zetz the charop. You sit down. And then 3 hours later, hide the chov. That's it. Michael. So Just ignore that family, okay? Ignore those two families. Don't go to them. Don't invite them to your house. You'll have a great life. The children are supposed to enjoy themselves. They're supposed to look forward to Shabbos tables. If they want to leave, let them read on the couch. One of them, I promise you, Rabbi Horowitz, what should I do? My son sits in the bathroom for 45 minutes every meal. Do you let him read on the couch? Chas v'shalom, boy, you're in a Shabbos table reading a book. Like, duh, it's the only place he could read. What do you want? The kids get it, you know? So, you know, when our children were young, you know, what we used to do, again, everybody do your own thing, but, you know, when the kids were really young, we did not eat. We used to sit, because, you know, we had young kids. It's the only time we got to see each other. But we used to feed the kids, prepare toys, and next to the, you know, feed the children. We used to eat with them until the soup, and then finish feeding them, get them into pajamas, and they would play, and we would sit, and my wife and I would just sit for an hour or two till the kids, till the kids were kids. But, you know, if you're inviting company over, it's fine, but if the talk is not child-centered and the children, you have to excuse them immediately. There's nothing, they're not interested in your mortgage payments, or whatever the rabbi said, did or didn't say during the drasha. You know, if you want to, I really would encourage you, look up, Reb Shlomo Zalman has an amazing book. I don't get a commission. It's Zriya Ubinyan B'Chinuch, Planting and Building in Chinuch. It is a magnificent book to read. It's really something you study, you don't just read it. He talks about like long-term chinuch, which is much messier than short-term. He compares it to building and planting. And planting, you know, if you line up bricks and you make a wall, it's beautiful. It's very neat and orderly, and you get it up right away, and it's beautiful. The only problem is the last brick you put up there is the last brick that's gonna be put. No bricks will grow. It's going to stay exactly the way it is until it breaks, and that'll be it. Whereas planting is messy. You have to make the rows. Not everyone works. You know, you have to invest time. You get your hands much dirtier. But eventually, you can sit back and enjoy the fruits of your parents. And he says that parenting by fear and parenting because I said so, by doing that in a way where it's much more about don't get punished and less about explaining and less about the messy process of having children internalize lessons on their own. He says what happens is, as long as the children are young and as long as they're under your control and as long as they're afraid of being punished, they'll do exactly what you say. You have to have bechira. The Rabbi Shalom gave us bechira for a reason. We're supposed to grow from our mistakes. We grow from learning. Hopefully there's small ones, and hopefully there's somebody there to mentor us while we're doing it. So when your children are young, be mechanech them. Spend the time to get into their lives and enjoy the time with them that they have in their homes. That is the quality time. I mentioned earlier, but I didn't really explain it, so I will just quickly, and again I'll take more if you have during Q&A. But the notion of when I said it comes at a price, and this is a personal discussion that spouses should have together, consult with your Rav about it, think about it yourself, but what happens is you typically have a set of standards in your home, whether it's rules about cleanliness or rules about, you know, hashkafa related issues, what type of books or what type of entertainment you do or don't let in your house. And what happens is when the children get a certain age, at some point in time, if you don't have it, they'll leave and go to somebody else's house. That's what I meant. It costs, it's not cheap. You have to really agonize and think about the choices, whether I want them home and leave everything the way it is. Again, this is not I'm not telling you what to do. That's a discussion that you have to have. But I encourage you to think of it at these terms. If your rules at home are such that your children are leaving, they're dropping their book bags and going out to other people, you're not raising them anymore. So this is, you know, the cleanliness. I call it the macaroni test. Our oldest son always loved gourmet cooking and all of that. And my wife, Baruch Hashem, is a very mesudaris. She's extremely organized. In a week or two, she'll start packing up for Pesach. You know, the suitcases will be out there. So a winter Matzah Shabbos, it just stuck in my mind. It always sticks in my mind when I think of this. A winter Matzah Shabbos, we were on our way up the steps at about 11 o'clock at night. It's quiet, the kitchen was spotless, and we were on our way upstairs. And our oldest says, "Ma, can I have this great pasta sauce? I just..." My wife stopped thinking about it. Like something, she was one step ahead of me. "Can I make it up? Mommy, don't worry about it, I'm gonna clean up." You know what that means? That the pot is in the same zip code as the sink, you know? And I promise you, she started like, you know, getting into convulsions on the way. I said, "Oh no," and that, by the way, it would have been perfectly reasonable to say, "Why did you do this at 9 o'clock? I just cleaned up." It's fair. You know, why did you do 9 o'clock now? So I whispered in her ear, I said, "Udi, he's going to ask for the car keys. You can say no. He'll just ask you for the car keys and hang around for 2.5 hours outside doing God knows what." And like her shoulders went, you know, we went upstairs, took a Valium, and went to sleep. You know, but in the kitchen, I'm joking, we don't take Valium. But the kitchen sounded like a marching band was going through it. You know, you clean up afterwards. So, but these are the prices that you have to. This is what I meant. Yeah, sometimes it's ruchniya, sometimes it's gashmiya, sometimes it's your privacy. It's everything. But I think it's something worth doing. Let me talk to you about safety. 11 years ago, I wrote as everything's on the record. It's all on my website. It's kosherjewishparenting.com. About 11 years ago, I started connecting the dots that the biggest reason kids were going off the derech was because they were being molested. I got very strange looks from many people, including my closest friends, but I didn't let it faze me much. I just went on and kept talking about it because I knew it. Those of us, myself, those of us in the field know it to be true. And 3 years ago, we decided to do something, we and Project Yes, we decided to do something to try to create materials to help parents have these conversations with their children. So all I can do is someone who has had to deal with hundreds of abuse victims over the years, visit them in rehab facilities, be menachem over their parents. I beg you to please speak to your children about child safety. It's the most important conversation you'll ever have with them. It's so easy. There are a few basic rules. I'm not going to take the time now. It's on my website. I'm begging you, if you didn't do it yet, please take an hour, sometime in the next few days. There's a free video there. We're coming out with the ebook. I hope it'll be out in the next week or two. And this book will be translated in Yiddish. We published this so that you should have something that's inexpensive and easy to use. The video on the website is free. This is just a couple of bucks. I don't have any more with me here. They're basically in every Judaic story you can buy it on our website. We published it together with Art Scroll. I had discussed for me, it's Torah members viewed every single word and every single picture on it. It's designed to keep your children, to give them to give you a comfortable language to be able to speak to them about child safety. There's stuff here about general safety stuff, bicycles, helmets, and then there's stuff about the 4 messages of child safety, which start in the middle of the book. It is perfectly tzanua. It is tzanua. This is what tznius is, the teaching children and these 4 pages go the messages. Basically, the messages are: your body belongs to you. And again, there's a lot of printed literature that you can get free on the website as well. Your body belongs to you. Good touching, bad touching. No one has the right to make you feel uncomfortable. It's late at night.
Secrets.
Thank you. No secrets from parents. Thank you very much. No secrets from parents. And basically, they're very logical. No secrets from parents is because you got to think like a predator. The last thing a predator wants to do is that they should talk to you. If you have time, I'll say the word beg one more time. There's an article written by a guy named Malcolm Gladwell, the guy who wrote Tipping Point. He wrote a piece called, you read it? In Plain View. In Plain View. Please take the time to read it. It's kedai. to read it. You can read it now during the speech if you have a smartphone. I'm right. Gladwell wrote a piece about Sandusky, about the Penn State scandal, and he explained how Sandusky did what he did and how he got away with it for so many years. It is so eye-opening, and he talks about grooming, he talks about whatever. Read the piece. It's part of your education. Really get educated about it so that you understand it, because the rules are simple. It's so easy to teach it to your kids. So no secrets from parents. Your body belongs to you means that you just teach the children that you belong to you. We don't tell them that. We tell them to be deferential and to be respectful to others and to share, and you want them to share. But you teach them, this belongs to you, now share it. But to teach them that their bodies belong to them. Try taking a blankie away from a 2-year-old. They understand ownership. We just don't tell them that you belong to you and nobody's allowed to. Okay? Good touching, bad touching is basically, certain touching is okay. Any spot covered by a bathing suit is usually good for boys and girls. Any spot covered by a bathing suit is not good touching. And please be very specific when you list exceptions to the rule. Don't say anybody in our family is okay, because nebuch. I know it's hard to believe, but most predators are people. It's not the weirdo in the raincoat. It's people the kids know, and very often it's family members, friends of boys who come over, whatever it is. Just you have to keep your eyes open. Take turns napping in the afternoon if there's people around you. Really be cognizant of what's going on in your homes. And nobody has the right to make you feel uncomfortable. The idea is to prevent grooming. Grooming is the process which Gladwell writes about, and you can read it in the literature also. There's another great one if you want to look on Chabad.org. There's a talk given by Chief Michael Bruno. If you want to do a Google search for it, I did a talk with him in Tenafly, New Jersey, in the Chabad home. Forget me, you heard my spiel already. He's magnificent. He explains a lot of other facets of child safety. Michael Bruno, Chabad, it'll come up right away. And the idea of grooming is that the predators very brilliantly, in an evil way, gradually encroach on children's space. And Gladwell and you can read this book by Salter. There's some good books that you can read about it. Sometimes they groom kids for 2 years before they molest them. And it's chilling how brilliantly evil some of them are. They'd go and, let's say for example, they would do an innocent touch on an arm, let's say, and then do a shoulder. And they would do a number of children, and some of it, they describe the way, not Sandusky, but someone else, some other people that they studied, they would go back to the homes just to bump into the mom at practice or something else to see if the mother would say, hey, you were touching my son's shoulder, I didn't like that. And if they said that, that's it, that family was safe. And then he went on to somebody else. And then he would gradually move. So the idea is that this is the most important thing that you can, that I encourage you to think about as parents, is this whole grooming idea. And the research shows that the children, there is sort of a line that passes, a red line, where the kids don't even know what the research, never forensically, after the children are abused, they go back and look at it, and there was like a red line that was crossed sometime during that grooming process, and the kids kind of felt uncomfortable. There was no abuse going on, but the kids they felt just a little bit uncomfortable. The research shows that's the second to get out, not later when they're already in your space. I was doing a presentation to a group of very chashuv rabbanim, and to his great credit, Rosh Yeshiva, someone you would know, chashuv Rosh Yeshiva asked me if I could explain the grooming process a little bit better. Can I have you as a volunteer, please? I'm not going to groom you, don't worry. Come on up. What's your first name? Dovid, come on up. So I'll show you what I did in front of a large contingent, a large group of... No, I asked them all mechila, they actually thanked me. Have a seat, please, Dovid. Okay, have a seat. I actually did this in front of a lot of people. So the exercise is what I'm going to do with Dovid is, if he lets me. I want you to notice this because it really is, it's extremely important to understand, thank you, Sholi, to understand how this works. Now, many of you are sitting right next to each other in chairs, right? I'm sorry? The mic. The mic, oh, thank you. Thank you, Kohn. Okay. Now, many of you are sitting literally right next to each other, and that's perfectly appropriate in a crowded room. Now, if you two were the only two people in the room, and you would sit right next to each other, the second guy to sit down, the first guy would pack out very quickly, because it's like kind of weird. So it's context. Some of the things you can't define. If your child asks you, how close should somebody sit to me before, you can't explain it. It just depends. If the room is empty, this is too close. If it's not empty, okay, you go into an empty subway car. So you go rush hour, you know, you can pick your feet up and you won't fall down. But if you go 12 o'clock at night and there's an empty car, again, sitting next to you. So it's your feeling that something is not right. So what I'm going to do, Dovid, is we're going to make believe that we're the only two people in shul, let's say. And I'm going to start sitting, let's say, about 6 feet away, and I'm going to move my chair over to you. Imagine again, we're the only people in the shul, or there's a few others, there's just a minion in the shul, spread out. When you get a little uncomfortable,